Splitgate 2's full release is here. It is exactly what gaming needs right now, is a breath of fresh air for first-person shooter gaming.
What? What the f?
Wow. That was a surprise. Hello everyone, it is me, Kazavop, here in the flesh. I'm here. I'm real. I'm not a disembodied voice anymore. I just wanted to give my thoughts on the Splitgate situation. The day I'm recording this is 22nd of October. October? It's not October, it's August. 22nd of August 2025. The original date for Splitgate 1 to be shut down, which was announced last month in the infamous Discord ping in the Splitgate 2 server, where the devs 1047 Games announced that they would be taking Splitgate 2, the newly released Splitgate 2, back into beta, but also taking Splitgate 1 servers down. And this caused lots of backlash. Splitgate 1 has been saved due to the Stop Killing Games movement, which is a very good movement, and you should, if you cherish your old games, your old video games, and you don't want devs pulling the plug when you least expect it, like some sort of psychopathic doctor, then support it. Uh-oh, I've invaded the bottom right corner of your screen. Please do not resist. Okay, so as we can see here, it says Splitgate saved by Stop Killing Games as devs hand over control to the players. It's no secret that Splitgate hasn't had the most successful few months after its sequel was released. The weeks following the Splitgate 2 release were met with plenty of player frustration, causing the devs to admit that it launched too early and pulled it back into beta for the foreseeable future. As such, the first iteration had to take the brunt of the player base, while the developers worked on making Splitgate 2 great again. Interesting choice of words, we'll get back to that. However, that also means that the first game had to make some major changes, but the devs have revealed that it's alive thanks to Stop Killing Games. So, here is the big juice, here is the big news. As revealed in a blog post on Steam, Splitgate will be getting some major changes, mostly due to its servers. Starting August 29th, the original Splitgate will be moving to peer-to-peer as we focus our resources on rebuilding Splitgate 2. What this means is that instead of Splitgate having dedicated servers, players will open their own servers and run the game through those. So that means Splitgate 1 is not dead. The rumours of Splitgate 1's death were greatly exaggerated, because it lives on through player control, which is what needs to happen with many old games that keep getting shut down by devs who are like, we've had enough of this one. Pum, okay. Battle Pass, please? No, so this, wait, no, pointing wrong way, this is very good, very good, very good. The main things that I wanted to talk about in this video were sort of the post-launch mishaps, shall we say, that Splitgate 2 experienced. Namely, the hat. I think we've all seen it by now. The Make FPS Great Again hat, worn by one of the devs. And sort of that being the kind of start of this cycle, this sort of doom cycle for Splitgate 2, where it just kind of got bad press. It had the potential to be a great game, but just some decisions like that hat and the associated political connotations with that kind of left a sour taste in some players' mouths, and many people who may have wanted to try out the game and thought, ooh, those devs, ooh, they're a bit, they might be a bit, let me stay clear of this one. So that harmed the player count. And also, kind of how they delivered the game. I'm sure you'll know, with that infamous hat that said Make first-person shooters great again, the devs championed Splitgate 2 on a platform of being different from other FPS titles like COD Warzone, Fortnite, Apex, Valorant, all those types of games. So, interestingly, they decided that the new mode that they were going to launch with the game would be a Battle Royale in 2025, which is interesting. It's a bold choice, but I think in 2025, as I outlined in my first video, the Battle Royale genre, especially with Fortnite prints money. Fortnite prints money. Apex prints money, I think. But they print money, right? Because they've been in the game for a long time, they know what they're doing, and they've basically got it to a T. So for other games to replicate that, especially so late into the cycle, just seems a bit, I don't want to say desperate, but it just feels a bit like running on fumes, like running out of ideas. I think that left a sour taste in players' mouths, because they championed the game on being different, being a unique experience, and it was with the titles and the dynamic movement, the dynamic gameplay, the different classes. But ultimately, the battle royale mode kind of, what did they say? Rustled someone's jimmies or something. It was like, oh, this is no, we're not doing this. And another thing, a sort of minor thing but important thing, the cosmetics. The cosmetics in the game were initially quite expensive, which you could argue would make sense for a indie company. You know, they have less reach, they need to pay off their costs, their dev staff, their servers, etc. But I think to many players it just seemed a bit scummy, especially with the recent Nintendo moves to $80 games with the Switch 2, and the rest of the gaming industry just jumping on that trend, based on global economic factors, shall we say, because I don't want to mention the guy's name, but but based on those factors, you know, $80 cosmetics just seemed a bit of a stretch, because they're digital things, you don't really need them in game to perform. It was just another nail in the Splitgate 2 coffin, shall we say. What else did I want to talk about? A Dexerto article mentioned that the player count dropped by around 80% in the first month since launch. I think that happens with most games. Most games that aren't the big ones, they do struggle with retaining players, and I believe there may have been some like things where there wasn't new content for the game, or there may have been some internal factors in the development and the upkeep of Splitgate 2 when it released in June, that led to players leaving, such as maybe the cosmetics, maybe the fallout of the hat, or what shall we call that? Hatgate? Capgate, yeah, Capgate, and other things that just, you know, people want to go back to what they're familiar with, like Overwatch, Fortnite, Apex, COD. Kind of followed the similar path of the first Splitgate, where it had a massive boost in support and then it dropped off, as the devs announced in July that they believed some things were not ready for launch, or like there were some things that were still broken, and they had to strike a balance between new content and general upkeep of the game. And if they focus too much on new content, then the upkeep of the game struggles, which ultimately harms the long-term, or the replayability and the gameplay loop of the matches, which leads to people dropping off. And then that means if you have people dropping off, then you have less people to serve new content to. So it's kind of like a double-pronged issue there. And then we get to the infamous announcement where Splitgate announced that all the Splitgate devs announced that they were taking Splitgate 2 back to beta. So just to clarify, the game is still playable. I've been busy over the summer with other things, so I haven't been playing as much as I wanted to, but it's just been pulled back to beta, and that doesn't really send a good message to players, to the point where, with all this previous controversy with the hat and the cosmetics and the gameplay loop, or little issues in the game that haven't been fixed, and the battle pass and the battle royale feature, that was kind of like the final nail. Like, okay, 6 weeks after launch, we messed up, we're pulling this back into the kitchen, we're gonna cook it a bit more, it's a little undercooked, we're gonna the game is raw, you know, the game is raw, we need to apparently this is cooking. They're planning to release it or re-release the game in 2026, which is sooner than I expected. I'll be honest with you, when I first heard that the game was going back into beta, I was surprised. I'll be honest, I don't play many games, but I've never heard in my gaming experience, I sound like a teacher now, in all of my years of teaching, in all of my years of playing video games, I've never heard of a game being released and then pulled back into beta. That was quite unique in Splitgate 2. This year, with the Nintendo Switch 2's release, we have other big titles, indie titles coming up soon. Hollow Knight Silksong. I've not played the first one yet, but that one is going to be a big one. And we have all those games coming out in the last quarter of 2025, the ones that are now breathing a massive sigh of relief now that GTA 6 is coming out next year. Splitgate 2, I think if they try and re-release in January, they'll only have, once again, just like now, and even the first game, they'll only have a few months even, to redefine the game, reshape the narrative around the game, and re-inject confidence and trust in their team and in the game in general, because 4 months, let's say they release January, maybe February, they've only got 4 or 3 months before GTA 6 comes in and wrecks everything. One more chance to nail the landing and a few more months to get up and running and to make their mark before GTA 6 just comes and wrecks everything. You know, it's been a while since I last uploaded. Whenever I see you next, make sure you're there. I hope you have a wonderful, fantastic day, and make sure you stay safe, eat your vegetables, and I'll see you somewhere on the internet. Bye bye now. First big video in a few weeks. Pretty good. That was fun.